3 years together and living with me, to then cheat on me. Me and my ex started dating when we were 15 and 16. We made a lot of sacrifices and memories. She had a bad upbringing and lived in an abusive household. After some planning, she went to live with me and my family for the past year. After some time, she started to regain contact with her dad, which I found strange at first, but later on I understood why. In this time, she got a gaming PC and played on it non-stop, leaving no time to be together. It felt like we were roommates, which I told her. She replied by saying she was going to work on herself and be there more for the relationship. The weekend we had our 3-year anniversary, she told me she was going to her dad for a week, which I was sad about but supportive after her being there for 3 days. I went on her computer to download a game she was dying to buy. Then all of a sudden, I see a message from a person I have never heard her speak about. Without thinking, I just clicked it and thought nothing of it. But lo and behold, she had a full-on relationship with this guy. My heart now beating in my chest. I messaged her on my phone to call me and that it was an emergency. Once she picked up, I said, "Explain this, please," to which she didn't understand what I meant, of course. So I sent her pictures of her conversation with the guy, then she immediately hung up. I ran to the bathroom because I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't deal with this sudden emotion and betrayal. I went downstairs to my parents and dogs just for some comfort. But they immediately saw something was wrong and pressured me to speak about it. After some crying, I spoke to her on the phone later in the evening. And I told her it is over and she can stay at her dad's until she can pick up all of her stuff. She agreed, but wanted to see each other one more time just to see if it was really over. In a moment of weakness, I agreed. I said I wanted a week of no contact to gather my thoughts and figure out what I wanted to do. She obliged. 2 days after having no contact whatsoever, I got insecure, and in another moment of weakness and insecurity, I checked her Discord messages. To my immediate shock, I found another person she was being flirtatious with. And the difference was that this person lived near her. So I asked her what was up, and she got angry and very manipulative. I was shocked and confused. Because earlier she said that she wanted to fix things, and that she would block all contact with people I didn't know. I didn't care who she was speaking to, but these messages were clearly something more than friendship. This was the final straw, and then we didn't speak until she picked up her stuff from my house. She told me that her dad and her dad's work assistant came to pick up all the stuff. I had no problem with this, but I was extremely anxious and hid in my room until she messaged me to come downstairs so I could give her some stuff and she could give me my stuff. The worker's assistant was in the bathroom, so we spoke a little bit, which felt weird to do. I hugged her and waited for the guy to come so I could close the door and say goodbye. Once he came out of the bathroom, I said hi and hugged her once more and went back upstairs. Later in the week, I found out that it wasn't her dad's worker assistant, it was her new boyfriend. This made me extremely depressed after finally being happy again. Story number 2. My ex cheated on me, left me for her, and now they broke up. In September, my boyfriend of over 2 years left me for a girl he met 2 weeks prior, through a friend of a friend. I learned that they were a little more than friendly during those 2 weeks. It was, and still is, incredibly traumatizing for so many reasons. But I'll spare you from the novel. All you need to know to understand the severity of my trauma is that they became very serious very quickly and were very public about it. It was hard to escape. I had a bit of a breakdown and reached out to him a lot of times only for him to block me. That was really hard to accept in the moment, but he did me a favor because I was able to move on. Well, 2 months ago, they deleted all their photos of each other. Through my embarrassingly excessive social media digging, it seems the breakup was messy, and, of course, he then reached out to me saying he's sorry for ignoring me all these months and how he would love to talk. It took a lot of courage to tell him that there was no reason to talk because he hurt me beyond words. I'm proud of myself for that, but damn it, I'm such a curious and nosy fool. that I so desperately want to know why they broke up. If she was so special to leave me after 2 years, what possibly could have happened? I wish I could ask, but I'd rather die than lose that bit of dignity I have left. I just hate that I made peace with it all, because he locked that door. But now he's unlocked it, and I feel a lot of my hard work being undone. Couldn't just leave me alone, huh? Story number 3. My 35 female, husband 36 male, had a months-long affair with my sister 20 female. It's been a little over 3 weeks, and for the most part, friends and family don't check in with me as regularly. I'm tired of thinking about it. Tired of talking about it, but also can't get away from it. My husband and sister did not grow up around each other, so I'm not really concerned with the grooming aspect, at least not in a long-term sense. Growing up, I lived with my mother, and she lived with our father. She was only 3 when I moved out of the house, 6 by the time he and I got married. However, our being a mill family made visits home infrequent, and even then I'd usually go alone. He likely only ever met her 2-4 times at all before she moved to the same city as late last year. Her version is that she was victimized by him. I know it sounds incredibly shitty to not believe someone claiming to a victim, so I do want to clarify some things here. I do believe that she is and has been a victim in the many sexual relationships she has had with much older men, and that she seeks these relationships as the result of some deep-seated traumas from her childhood. However, she has always entered into these relationships consensually, and has never considered herself a victim of these men should the men have been known better. Absolutely. Did they still actively engage in very inappropriate relationships with her citing her consent as their gross justification? Absolutely. So while, yes, I absolutely believe that my husband was the one who should have been responsible for managing their relationship, as the much older player, I also do not believe that she ever felt victimized by him, but now claims to have been to earn my sympathy and forgiveness. His version is that she sought him out even prior to their first exchange, and then began indirectly threatening him that she would tell me if their relationship didn't continue. He was also very drunk the first time. She had had nothing to drink and, according to him, initiated the encounter. Things I do know. She sent a friend request to his FetLife account. 5 days prior to the first encounter, she sent a friend request to her Bill's social media account, which contained multiple nude photos. I believe she at least fantasized about him if she didn't actually plan to initiate sexual contact. Will I ever know the full truth of what happened or why? Probably not. I don't know if they're both lying, or if they both actually buy into the bullshit webs they're spinning. I don't know how much it even matters anymore. And I don't know how I'll feel in 6 months, or 1 year, or 5 years, but today, right now, I don't know how I'll ever forgive either of them for what they've done. I did tell my children, on the advice of my therapist, because my children were very close with their aunt. This one couldn't be as easily managed by just omitting the why of our divorce. And there was a fear that it would come out later in an uncontrolled way, or that I would have to create a story around why their aunt is no longer in their lives. It felt like the only thing to do was to tell them enough of the truth, and it's all just been really hard. I can't help but want to know everything that happened, not so much the intimate details of each encounter, but the feelings and motivations on the parts of both my ex and sister. My sister insists that my ex is a sexual predator that groomed and manipulated her, and who was loaning her money while she was out of work and so felt obligated to continue their affair. To be clear, she didn't lose her job until after the first encounter. My ex insists that my sister is basically a sociopath who baited and pursued him, initiated the first encounter, wanted him to leave me for her, and then made subtle threats that she would tell me if the affair didn't continue. It's so difficult for me to believe that either of these people I have loved and known so well are either a predator or manipulative sociopath. They are both coming down hard on me. for not believing their individual versions and really not allowing me all that much grace or understanding when it comes to my inability to detect or know the truth. I think that right now it feels very difficult for me to know how to process everything and begin to heal, if I can't even really understand why it all happened in the first place. I'm trying to process the version that is most digestible to me, but that doesn't mean that it is accurate at all. My sister says that she would provide me with any evidence she could and help me to see the full picture, but when I've asked for specific things, she becomes mad that if I need proof, I must not believe her. When I ask my ex for details or ask specific questions or even just seem angry in his presence, he tells me that he just can't do this and that I'm rubbing his face in it or making him my punching bag and keeps making threats to unalive himself. He's been in this shit since January, but as of today I've known about it for less than a month. I'm still just in the earliest stages of processing it at all, of figuring out what my and my children's new lives look like, of learning how to navigate all of the difficult legal stuff I have no prior experience with, of carrying on in my personal and professional lives, while simultaneously carrying all of the heaviness of this emotional burden around with me. And still, neither of them seem to understand my anger or inability to trust anything they say. They have centered themselves in this and completely forgotten about what they've done to me and my children and how long our journey to sort out this grief will take. I'm just so angry. I can deal with the sadness, but this rage feels like it might consume me and I don't know what to do with it all. I don't know how to get away from it or endure it. I'm just so exhausted. It hasn't even been 2 months since I found out, but it feels like it's been 10x that long. It's already hard to remember the time before all of this. I know it's been recommended that we not go this route, but we've decided to move ahead with divorce proceedings using a mediator only. I do believe that he is genuinely remorseful, and all I want is to do this amicably, so that it will have as little impact as possible on the kids. We've come to agreements on everything outlined in the divorce decree documents, and I'm satisfied with the decisions we've made. I don't care about entitlement, I just want to be done with it. I'm in therapy and I think it's helping me to process everything, although it does seem like my most difficult days are always the ones following my sessions. I'd really like to go back to talking to my therapist about anything but this, but I know that this part can't be sped up or skipped over. My sister reached out to me after my request that we remain NC. She was blocked everywhere except for my phone number, but has since been blocked there as well. During that brief interaction, she asked if she could contact my children, and I asked that she please not attempt to contact them. She became angry and sent me a pointed message. I didn't respond. A few days later, she sent my middleest kiddo a request to join a game on Roblox. I missed that one. My kiddo deleted and blocked her from the app, but I'm upset that my sister did not respect my request that they not be contacted. I'm considering filing for a row, but I don't know if it's the right thing. I hate that I'm questioning so many of my choices. I'm not interested in petty revenge or weaponizing my children against her. But clearly asking her is not enough. She has tickets to a concert in our state in August, and I'm worried she will attempt to see them. Somehow? I'm still just sort of emotionally floundering. My emotions are less heightened for sure. And the kids and I just returned from a 4-day trip to the beach and Disney that helped. I'm not checking in with my family much anymore, because I don't want them to have to rehash the same things over and over with me. I know it must be exhausting for them too. I'm just feeling very isolated lately, and I'm not sure how to mitigate that.